Good evening, good night, good day, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to our 98th podcast.
Yes.
We're so excited because our 100th podcast, our century, is going to be at the US Open, and I believe that might more than likely be live, as we're usually live.
And a few of us will be face to face, right?
Yes, I know. So that's pretty excited. And that means Gina's gonna have to do work because if I'm on the road, she gotta be at home. But I miss you guys. I miss my co-hostesses with the mostesses, and I miss my fans. I just don't like always writing to you people because apparently my bosses are getting on my ass. Like, why are you always looking at your phone? We ain't calling you. And I was just like, fuck it, and between world championships in swimming and track and field, I've been watching my phone a lot. So,
oh my God, you're cheating on tennis?
And you're going to get fired in the process? Jeez,
well,
this is bad.
Just what happening in this man. And then tennis came later on in the afternoon. North American tennis is the best one. I'm in North America as well. But before I go any further, let me introduce my co-hostesses with the mostesses. We have Andrine from Solely Tennis Travel, and she is home, I believe.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to tell you what she's dressed like, but she's definitely home.
She is home chilling in her jammies.
I was trying to put you on blast. It's your friend. That's your friend.
Sunday, man. It's Sunday. This is what I live for. I live for laying around. I actually had a full
Lionel Richie. She's easy like a Sunday afternoon. Easy breezy.
Well, you know what? Tennis is in like the perfect time zone for me, right? It's like
it is.
I still have the rest. I still have the rest of the day. And it's now like almost evening for y'all, no?
Whatever. Get out of here. Exactly. People gotta be. And we have Janina from Foreign Ohio, the Cato Killing of Podcast. Are you getting ready for OJ release, Janina?
Yes, I am. Totally.
And as always, your lovely and loyal homosexual of the podcast, Realz. Ladies, I did miss you people. I mean, like, I know we talk nearly every day in some capacity, but I mean, just having this, this conversation, through, a podcast, I missed it, because I felt like, scrolling through tennis Twitter, I was just like, the fucking world, like, Jesus Christ, tennis, calm the fuck down. Some of y'all motherfuckers need to get off of Twitter because, 45 is on Twitter and there ain't enough Twitter space, universe for that much fucking going around, okay? So,
not enough Twitter space.
Somebody gotta take a hit, okay? So since that motherfucker is not deleting his account, some of y'all are gonna have to do it to just save the rest.
I read that he would never because apparently his tweets has brought the company so much revenue. So you remember when they said that Donald Trump was good for CBS, if not good for the country? So President Trump might be good for Twitter, but that might be all.
I don't even want to even get into it because it's not the hour or the time for this podcast. Mm-hmm. I want to be a little bit more uplifting. Mm-hmm. But
yes,
if there is a future, they will have to tell you there will be a book that said social media destroy the world in many ways than one.
Pretty much. Social media
exactly. Social media has been aiding and abetting a lot of dirty, gnarly things. And we're not even talking about the regular naughty ones like, child porn and that kind of crazy shit.
Or tennis footage. That's it.
But, yes, indeed. So, ladies, let us get right into the bit of it. Let's just get into some early results before we get into Cincinnati. And ladies, I got a special guest for you. I had to put out a little something in order to get a special guest out here for you. So just so that your fearless homosexual leader is always working behind the scenes. Just saying. So in terms of results, I mean, like last time we spoke, it seems as if John Isner won the right to be somewhere in 45's administration. Taking out what's that other one name? That ugly, ridiculous child Harrison.
Ryan.
But anyway, after that we had like Washington, where Alex Zverev, who went on a tear, he's having a hot summer.
Yes.
He followed up one good result with an even better result. He took out Anderson in Washington, which doesn't really count anymore as a real tournament. But hey, still playing regular tennis. But he then went on to Montreal and decided to, you know what? I'm taking names and I'm going to take Federer out. You know, Federer pulled up with some back issues, but, you know, Zverev was just like, I give no fuck if you're in a fucking wheelchair. I'm going to be snatching my second numero dos Master Series title. So
pretty impressive, isn't it?
Exactly.
Basically, all Masters titles that Federer hasn't won either.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's like fucking Stanley. It's like Stanley. You know what I mean? It's like Stanley. You're just like, you know, I'm snatching this Monte Carlo shit from your ass. You will not have this. And just, you know what, just to be like, he's just like, you know what, hey, what, Wawrinka, I got 2 Master Series. Guess how many you got?
Oh, man.
1. 2 Master Burditch.
So pathetic,
You got
isn't it?
1. I mean, David Ferrer, you got 1. And I mean, like, his entire generation, everybody he knows, everyone he grew up in tennis with, don't even have any. That's how badass Zverev is. Sasha is.
Oh my God!
No recognition, no nobody.
Wrong.
He just like
Don't die on the podcast. Please.
Who?
I'm choking on sparkling wine. And
This bitch is drinking? Yeah, here. You're being lazy and something. Look, you know what? I'm not been up here doing work. I'm cooking right now. I hope my meal doesn't burn. But anyway, so Zverev is the undisputed king of this summer, and he didn't even need to do shit in Cincinnati.
Yep.
Because wait, Washington don't even count anyway, so he's not even gonna even win the US Open Series. Is that even a thing anymore?
Yeah,
no, they don't count the series anymore. They don't do the points. You don't get any bonus points or any of that.
You don't get you get bonus
you don't
money.
Get the bonus. No, they don't do that anymore. They got rid of that. Isn't that weird?
Oh,
I didn't.
You know what that is all about, right?
What?
Because they're just taking that extra money. Because they don't have to pay out that extra money at US Open, basically. So they're just keeping that extra money.
Yeah, like it's like $1 million bonus, right? They've got rid of that.
Yeah, they just generate all of that money.
Yeah, $1 million.
Well, it's too bad. It would have been fair. He would have been in the lead.
It's going
Definitely
to the US Open Stadium. No, I don't know if that's
so they tell you. But from what I'm seeing in those pictures, it ain't going there for sure.
It looks pretty pathetic.
It's going to somebody's pocket.
It's fine.
But anyway,
it could be mine.
We're talking about the temporary Armstrong Stadium. We were all looking at pictures earlier. It was sad.
A little myth to say.
I just hope it's not done.
Yeah, it's just partially done. They said it's a temporary stadium, but it still looks pretty
sad.
Weak.
Temporary.
Yeah,
it looks like you're gonna hold a pep rally out there. Like
I was like, my ass is gonna hurt on these seats.
They are, believe it.
But you know what I'm most surprised that I think we talked about is just like I think that's a little too intimate. I'm gonna worry about security, and as soon as they put one big player out there, he or she is going to complain, and then it's gonna be a whole bunch of scrubs and wenches gonna be out there. So
I don't think
check out Armstrong. It's gonna be Donna Vekic versus Serena Crostea in round 1 only. Nothing else. And then mixed doubles. That's all it's gonna be out there.
You are mean.
On the ladies' side, I mean, I don't know what the fuck Caroline Wozniacki gotta do to win a title in 2017, but she certainly haven't done it yet because she is 0-6 for the year. And Svitolina is looking like she is a nasty old piece of formidable opponent when it comes to regular tour, but then just flop and fizzle in the majors. But you know what, girl? Make your money anyhow you can.
Well, we'll see.
Because
we'll see what she does in New York.
Yes. So, you know, she definitely has the experience. So she can talk about being a newbie on court. So that's really nice of her. So she won a big title. And meanwhile, Madison Keys came out of, I don't know, wherever she was. But, you know, she did me a solid by taking out Coconut in Stanford.
Yep.
You know, but then I was happy for that. And Makarova is back on the trot, I guess. So look for her to possibly be in the semifinals of a major once again, taking out Yulia Gerges.
Yeah, she does like it in
Washington.
Open. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and while we're here in Svitolina has won like 5 or 6 titles for the year already, so that's pretty solid for her. And we see that Sloane Stephens has definitely found her rhythm, especially when it's some left-handed players. because she is fucking up these lefty like there's nobody's business. She got their numbers. Safashova, Kitova, Makarova.
I love
What's
it.
the other one? I forget. Good old Angie. Good old Angie is getting her number clocked. Everybody remember she used to be number one?
Oh,
Stop.
sad times.
But anyway, so I mean, like, well, I'm glad to see some people are definitely rugging up there, you know, and you know, Maria is still MIA getting her medicine, you know, her new meldonium, right? So good for her. So I guess the ladies that bring us to the Cincy. And you know, I'm gonna do as I told you, I have a special guest. So I'm gonna bring a special guest on the podcast right now to let us know he was actually at Cincy. So I'm gonna invite him right now. So let's just wait.
I'm so sad. Sad they didn't have you at Cincy, Janina.
I know.
How did you feel this time around? Were you like angsting and jonesing because you missed it? Because it's been a while since you've been at home during Cincy.
It was so weird to watch it on TV. I fucking hated it. I won't lie. I might have cried a little bit. You know, I get these messages. Oh my gosh, it's just not the same. People talk of you so fondly. I'm sorry I didn't get to meet you. Sam's Biceps did send me a message and he was like, oh my gosh, you're not there. That's totally why Federer pulled out. I'm like, I think you might be right.
Federer's like, Federer's like, I don't see my big-breasted fan that I always see.
I think Stanley wasn't there. It's because Stanley's always checking out your boobs. So she was just like, I'm getting no love from Stanley. And if Donna Becker see me alone day, she's gonna cut my ass. I'm gonna stay home.
Oh my god, right? Oh my god. So it was weird. It was weird. But whatever. Next time.
So a guest is here. Could you introduce yourself? You don't need to give your full government, just probably put your Twitter handle out there.
Hey, I'm Chad. I'm from South Carolina and my Twitter name is CCSmooth13. So how you guys doing?
You sound like you're on a game show all of a sudden.
I know.
You're quite good at that, Chad. Well done.
Thank you very much. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're excited to have you on our podcast here. I mean, don't feel any weird, but there's another homosexual on the podcast too. So hey, it should be fun. Should be fun. I was checking out. So Chad, you were at Cincy. And I can see from your pictures that you were posting what you were checking out, but I won't put you on blast just early. So tell us, did you enjoy yourself? You're currently on your way back home.
That's right. I am in the middle of an 8-hour road trip, and I am in the mountains of Tennessee. Ooh. And I saw some people like walking on the side of the road. One was carrying their shoes, and it kind of made me. I know, right? It kind of made me nervous, and but I have pulled over, and I'm like at almost a dilapidated gas station. So if I go radio silent, it's either the hitchhiker got me or it's somebody from this gas station.
Oh my God. I know. It's like ID channel. So this is on a podcast.
Oh my God! No, don't say that.
I know. I don't think anything's gonna happen. I think I'm good.
I told him he's white, so he's fine. Definitely police won't get you. You'll be fine.
He does have a tan. I have seen pictures.
Be careful. No. So this was your first time in Cincinnati. I think that you had pretty good seats.
The seats were amazing. There were a lot of withdrawals this tournament, but the biggest withdrawal was from Janina, and you were definitely missed. And thank you so much for the amazing seats and for the nice package deal that you gave me on the tickets. They were awesome.
You're welcome.
Oh my God! Look at her. Oh my God! You just asked that question so you could be stroked, Janina.
I know, right? She has nothing for free. This bitch does nothing for free. You pulled out a Cincy.
I like those volunteers at Cincy.
Yeah.
But yes, this was my first time going to Cincy. I have been to Charleston a bunch, probably about 8 times. I've also been to Miami, but it was mostly a Miami trip to sit on the beach and drink margaritas. And then I wound up going to tennis. So this was sort of my first huge tournament like this, you know, with men and women both playing.
Yeah.
Like for the whole week.
In other words, this is the first time going to a tournament legit where John Isner is not the featured attraction.
Oh my God.
That's always wonderful. That's the real world.
Because I think Charleston seems like a really nice tournament. So tell me, like, what did you absolutely love about Cincy?
Oh, wait, Charleston is a women's event. What's wrong with me?
Yeah,
it's a
exactly. Reels. I see. I just tried to save your ass.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. It just sounds like country. Just New York, foreign Ohio, and just country in California. That's it.
Brutal.
Oh my God.
These East Coast elites.
So what was it like being at this huge tournament where you're there entrenched for like a full week per se?
Yeah, I mean, this is like the first. Yeah, it was really great. I have not, like I said, have not seen the men play before, other than that 2 or 3 days in Miami. But it was just nice. I mean, the days are packed. I mean, you go to the tournament, you get there, you're already checking out practice schedules. You're already trying to hook up with folks. I mean, like connect with folks.
Yes, be very careful. You're a homosexual. A lot of other things. This is not a Christian podcast, so be very clear with your words.
So you want to connect with someone, to like meet them, to watch a tennis practice session. But getting there for the qualies was cool. I got there for the qualies on Saturday, and I was there through to yesterday. Well, I actually left this morning, but I didn't see any tennis today. But it's just a jam-packed day. I mean,
you didn't miss much. Just laying you know.
I saw the score line, and that's kind of like crazy. But we'll talk about that, I guess, in a minute. But if there's anything to talk about. But no, I mean, I don't know. I get overstimulated when I see like all these folks that are my faves. You know, Venus, of course, is my fave. So let me throw that out there now. You probably already know that.
People. You are cool white people. See?
I accept that compliment. I like that compliment. I'll take it.
Don't take just that compliment. Just that.
Oh my God. Let the man talk real.
No, I saw that you were lucky enough to get a picture with the family, I think.
Oh my gosh. So Venus lost the match. Well, whatever. She'll win the Open. But so she lost the match. I was kind of distraught and was walking sort of discombobulated up the steps. And I turned around and Isha is right there. And I met Isha in Charleston before, and she was mad cool. She was just very talkative and friendly, and talked about how Charleston was one of their favorite tournaments for the family. And then this past week I met her and we took a picture together. So it was nice running into her. That kind of, made things a little better after seeing Venus lose that kind of weird match. So
look at you.
Let's cheer up, though.
Mixing it up with our fave. You're saying all the right things to come back here, aren't you?
What's it like to watch your fave lose live? That's always horrendous.
Oh, well, okay. So, yeah, thanks, Andrine. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's nice. It's a joy and a thrill. That's what I look forward to from the beginning of the week.
No, like, you know what? But when you do it live, you kind of like have to immediately get over it because you don't want to, you don't want to ruin the rest of the day.
You gotta go home. You're gonna walk outside in public. You don't have to go. You're not in the safety of your home where you can get in bed and be like, "Fuck everybody." Turn off
you don't
the phone,
get to go
computer.
eat 5 bags of Cheetos, right?
I know, right?
Exactly.
They had good tequila outside, so that helped for a little bit. But no, I mean, it's weird watching her lose live. I've actually watched her lose live a couple times. I saw her lose in Charleston. I'm kind of early for the last 2 years. So it's just like sort of a little out of body experience because I don't expect her to lose to some lower ranked players like that. And Barty got her this time. I know Barty's been playing well.
You know what? So Barty got her once in Miami, if I'm not mistaken, too. It was the worst.
So, Chad, what are you saying? Are you saying that we shouldn't let you and Venus be in the same tournament? Is that what we're saying?
Oh gosh, don't say that. I don't want to be a jinx, but I do feel bad. She beat Allison Risk in Charleston when I saw her, and she beat Allison Risk in this tournament. So maybe I'm a jinx more so for Risk than I am for Venus.
Fair enough.
If one should.
So Allison Risk should pack it up and go home.
If Chad is in town, Allison, you need to get the fuck out of Dodge. You just need to go.
So yeah, and so, but it's also good to see some of the young Americans. I enjoy watching Taylor Townsend. Chris Eubanks is one of my faves, and Francis TFO is fun to watch. I mean, that was probably
especially when he picked up his shirt.
Wait.
Did I notice that? I don't think did I see that? I don't remember. Did he do that in Cincinnati? I don't know.
Yes,
we see your types. Okay, so what you were gonna say?
See your picture.
Wait. You were about to say something about the TFO match.
No, well, I just wanted to say that seeing Taylor and Chris Eubanks both have nice runs through the qualies, and also the Taylor Monica Puig match was hype. I mean, and Taylor played really well. She didn't do so well against Simona, but Chris Eubanks and Taylor had a great run. But to me, the match of the tournament, like, is just maybe because I'm a little biased towards Tiafoe, is that match against Zverev. I mean, I thought it was entertaining. I don't think Zverev played his best at all, but Tiafoe still had to step up to the plate. It was a huge win for him.
What do you think where do you think the crowd was going? Do you think the crowd was on TFO's?
Well, for that match, for most of the matches, I was really happy to hear the crowd firmly behind, like I said, Taylor, Chris Eubanks, and in that match for Francis, firmly behind it. Now on the flip side, that was my favorite match. But on the flip side, probably the worst match or kind of most boring match to me was the Isner Francis match, which was the next round.
Yeah.
But I think that's more. I just think that's Isner's kind of thing. I mean, he stifles anybody's personality. So
you're just so tense, and you don't get any rallies,
Right, and the crowd for that match. I mean, surprisingly, I was expecting it to be more pro Isner, but it was a good mix. It was a good fan base for Francis there as well. I think a lot of people were kind of excited to see him play after the big win he had the day before. Unfortunately, they just couldn't see much because of Isner. So let's blame everything on Isner because I'm good with that.
Oh, don't worry, we do it all the time. We do it all the time here.
Was there anything about Cincinnati you didn't like?
I enjoyed the entire experience. It was cool meeting the tennis Twitter folks, and hopefully I'll get to meet more soon at upcoming tournaments.
Why don't you ask your question you always ask? Who's the weirdest Twitter person you met?
Yes.
Don't ask me that.
I know you can't answer.
Okay, you can answer this. You can answer this. You don't have to use any names. Was there anyone that you met that you were really looking forward to meeting that was just completely different than you expected them to be, whether it be good or bad? I mean, you don't even have to say, but I feel like for me that always happens, that people kind of present themselves online a little bit different than they are in person.
Right. I mean, I think that's the case. And like you said, you sort of have in your head or your mind about, you set some kind of image of the person and how they may interact with folks or, online or with Twitter. And then you meet them and you're like, yeah, I kind of like that person, or, I'm not sure. And
it happens, right?
Oh, like, I gotta mute this person. I gotta mute this person ever again here.
Listen, it's not unique. It happens to everyone.
Cool.
So you had a good time. You're gonna go back to Cincy again next year?
I think next year my plans are to I want to go to Miami. And actually go for the tennis this time instead of just going for the party life. And
you can go for both. Hey,
I can go for both. I can divide it up half and half at least, and then I can go to Charleston.
Exactly. If Rumor has it right, you can go with Nick as well, because Nick loves the party life at night too.
Miami is nice though. It's a nice.
Is that what happened to him today? Was he like tired, exhausted?
Oh, Nick. I mean, no. I mean,
he was hot.
He was hot. But I'll be honest, Grigor came with a plan and executed it well.
Oh, yes, he did.
He played really well.
He played very well because, I actually ended up seeing Grigor play most of all week. And he was everywhere Nick wasn't.
Yeah.
He was all
and
over the
Grigor
ball.
was like, wait a minute. So y'all telling me there's a Master Series trophy here. There's no Andy. There's no Federer. There's no Diva Dow. There's no Lay. There's no Stanley.
And I'm the one to take it. Yes, and
I just gotta push over Nicholas. Get the fuck out of here! This is candy from my baby. I'm gonna make this look cute for a minute, and then I'm gonna run and tell Ryan Rarenich, "Hey boo, I got a Master Series trophy, and you don't."
He sliced and diced effectively, so that Nick could not get any rhythm going. His rally ball was horrendous today. Like
yes, I was saying, I think I was telling that. Yeah,
and
it's like I don't understand this.
He can hit you off the court. Didn't happen.
He wasn't doing it at all yesterday. The same thing happened yesterday. I'm telling you. If David Ferrer, who's your favorite, and you should tell us how you felt watching your favorite David Ferrer. I know people. There is someone out there head of the top 4. Let me correct myself. The top 3, and then Murray and Stanley. There's a David Ferrer fan out there who's not a family member. Legit, and he's not even from Spain. I mean, if David Ferrer yesterday was like probably 2 years younger and he didn't detox, I'm telling you, David Ferrer would have snatched that.
That was a good match.
You know what? He played a really poor tiebreak. He played poor tiebreak.
Yes, David Ferrer played poor tiebreakers.
That match was a lot closer than I expected it to be. I thought Nick was going to hit him right off the court, even though we all know. Yeah, I did, because I mean, that's what he did to Nadal. And I thought, okay, I know Ferrer can run for days. Like, we know this about him, but he's just younger. He's supposed to do better. That match was way tighter than I expected it to be.
I actually thought Ferrer was going to take it.
But he
had Ferrer take it into my mind.
Oh, no. You know what? I didn't, because at the end of the day, Ferrer struggles against big servers. Like, realistically, like if you can win cheap points, which Nick did on his serve,
right?
Then you've got something going. But if you're going to be rallying, then obviously I would have picked Ferrer. But I knew that Nick was serving well, and he did. He didn't serve well today, and that was probably a combination of Grigor just being really good at anticipating where Nick was serving, and then just doing so much with the ball once he got it in play. Nick was never comfortable.
Nick's second ball, the second strike is just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you just put it on monster.
He got beat by you see, he got beat by like a 74-mile-per-hour serve. Yeah,
he doesn't have a 1-2 punch. He doesn't have a 1-2 punch, and that's the problem there. But particularly,
Nick has a 1-2 punch. Grigor did not allow him to do it because he was 1-2 punching Nadal all the time. Well, unfortunately, that was the shocking thing.
But to me, just like if you can 1-2 punch Nadal, which is difficult to do, you should be one punching these motherfuckers. Everybody else.
No, you know why?
But it's a matchup problem, I guess.
It's a matchup thing. People don't think about that, but Nadal doesn't do that many different things with the ball. Like, he does pace, but Grigor was he didn't give Nick the same look twice. Like, he was slicing the ball. Nick had to constantly bend down low, and he was everywhere. He was just retrieving all over. A ball that you thought would have been a winner, Nick got it back. Not Nick. Grigor got it back. So it was just a really poor matchup for him. It was like looking at Nick play Andy Murray.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, what? You know what I mean?
That's bad. How was I'm assuming, Chad, you were at the match with Nick and Rafa?
Correct.
Yep.
How was the atmosphere for that?
That evening.
I mean, it was loud. Shocked? I mean, it was people were invested into the match, but it was a lot of booing. I think
weird.
I think Nick hit a tweener, early in the first set, and people found that offensive. Then they sort of jumped on his case, but it got worse to me when it got toward the end of the second set, and people were wanting Rafa to stay in the match, and they started booing. I mean, they started applauding Nick's double faults, which is, pretty
big tennis no.
No, a big no. But it was very obvious.
They did it today. They did it when he double faulted today, because I think they were really invested in Grigor. I think they might have confused Grigor with Federer, but we're like, for my eyesight, I think it's Fed. But you know what? I was wondering about that Rafa match, because I was starting to think that maybe the crowd was sort of upset that Rafa was being exposed so poorly. Do you know what I mean? It's one thing if it was more competitive, maybe they would have been, but it was like he shut Rafa down.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Rafa had
his ass.
Who has Rafa down for love? Who does?
Nick does.
I mean, seriously. I mean, that was the kind of beatdown that Rafa last tasted from the hands of Novak. And Novak is not that Novak anymore. Only Novak became Rafa like that on a hard court particularly.
Yeah, and the only way that Rafa was going to get back in that match is for like those double faults, and that's why Nick was getting all that applause. I mean, the applause when the double faults happened, which, like I said, was pretty bad. And then people even stayed after he won the match and were booing him after the match.
Crazy.
So I mean, it was like a lot. It was a lot of Rafa.
Listen, let's be real clear.
Well, you know what? I didn't realize that though.
It's down south.
It is the middle of Cincy.
It's southern Ohio.
It's mid.
It's a hop, skip, and a jump away from fucking Kentucky. So
didn't Trump win? Didn't Trump win Ohio? So.
This time, yes, it is a red state right now.
It's a red state, but no, I mean, I guess in some ways too, they also didn't want to lose there. But you know what? Let me say, last year when Rafa was losing to the other young up and comer, I don't remember Booz. Right. He lost to who's the guy that patterns his game after Djokovic?
Church.
Yeah, Church. Yeah, I don't remember Booz from that, but I think it's just
last year. I mean, last year Rafa didn't look healthy, right? Diva Dowd didn't look well.
Yeah,
that's what's the talk, right? And I guess Novak was still around, wasn't he?
No, it's Olympics, post-Olympics, a little bit dodgy. But actually, you know what, Chet? Aren't you a Madison Keys fan? How was that?
Oh God, that match. I like Madison. I like Madison. I want to see her do well. And she choked away that match. I mean, I think she had maybe 3 match points in that match.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did.
And I was sitting there, and everybody pretty much had it as a given. She was up 4-2 in the third set, and then kind of lost that advantage. And then she was up even later in the set to win.
40-15.
Right, and she had a ball that all she had to do was hit down the line. Garbine was off the court, and she tried to pummel it, and it goes in the middle of the net. And that's why it's so tough to root for Madison, because she does that all the time. I mean, not everything requires bludgeoning. I mean. So Madison,
we all know either Madison's gonna miss by a country mile or she's gonna be winning it with inches. There is no. She don't know gray area. She don't know black or she don't know white, and it's very sad state of affair because I mean she could have got herself some really good points, and got herself some solid because she definitely had the momentum winning Stanford, which is a pretty big hardcore tournament in the women's side, and then. She let Garbine off the hook, and look, Simone is like, "Fuck you, Maddie. Fuck you,
right?"
Yeah, she's like, "I could have taken you to the woodshed instead of having her take my ass to the woodshed."
Fuck yeah. I mean, would there be any doubt?
Chad, so you missed that match too, right? Or did you stay?
No, with the Madison Garbine the women's match today, I missed today.
Honey,
you didn't miss anything, boo-boo. Didn't miss a single thing.
It was a slaughter.
I didn't even watch it.
I did because you know what? I was loving it because I knew I'm so bad. Listen, I was such a Simona fan, but the evolution.
I know
of
why
Simona
you were glad because it was fucking Darren Cahill. It's
like it was because I can't take it. Simona was great before Darren Cahill, and she's a little bit after Darren Cahill. So this whole time I'm watching this match, yeah, I know, and so. And I like Simona. I think she's good, but I think Darren Cahill has made her into a complete retriever. And I don't understand why people are telling me that he's improved her game because I feel like if you just put her up against a power player, she's going to be done. And Muggs showed you exactly what that meant today. No matter where she tried to hit the ball, she was like, I'm going to use my court speed. I'm going to move this girl. Muggs was like, I'm not running.
You know what that match look like? Have you ever seen like when someone is like water skiing and then they're still holding on to the handle but they fell off the ski dragged in the water, skipping along the surface? That's what that looks like. It's like you don't want to let go because you're gonna be like fucked up, but you're still holding on like. And just Muggs was just like dragging it all over the place.
Could not hold serve to save her life. Oh,
She couldn't even take advantage of Muggs' nerves, of Muggs' mess.
No, Muggs had no nerves. The only time Muggs experienced some nerves was like a blip in like maybe the first set, and then the first maybe was it the fourth game? Because she was trying to like hold for 4-love. Muggs was, and there was a moment. I think that might be the longest game. That was part of the longest game because the whole thing was finished in 6 minutes.
That was a mugging. So second title. For the second title, Gabine Muguruza has bageled somebody. I ain't got time for this shit. No more Gabine, girl.
So
Federer had her on the line too. Had her on the ropes too, and Federer sort of did what Madison did. I mean,
we don't talk about Federer here. We don't talk about Federer.
Wait a minute. What? I think Janina, you like Federer, don't you?
I love her.
That's the problem.
And this is what she does. This is what she does. She loses matches that she's in a winning position all the fucking time.
Yeah. So she did. So she's continuing the trend.
Yes.
I mean, I hate to say this, but you know what? What Gabine did is so Serena-esque, right? I'm struggle tennis all the way to the final, and then I was like, I'm beat this bitch now. I'm just gonna be like, no holds barred up. It's gonna be the best tennis you've ever seen in my life. And I mean, guess what? I got the added bonus of stopping Simona. I mean, like, they don't even require much from Simona to be number one. Not even anything. She don't gotta win a major. Just gotta be like, girl, just win a title.
Oh, it's okay.
Simona's just like, that's too much.
And let's be real. Did you expect Simona to win today? Because I did not.
People was expecting. You know what? People expected it to be a battle, and I didn't quite see how that would be.
We need to think about what Simona Halep has done lately, and when it matters, bitch can't play.
Well, yes, but that is most of a mental thing. It's not the actual tennis acumen. She does have that. I mean, like, she's capable of playing Muggs. I mean, like, that is not the scoreline. That is not Dana Vekic versus Gabine Muguruza.
No, but it just, you know what, to me, it just, in my mind, it struck me as just a poor matchup. Because I watched Sloane play her, and Sloane was tired, but she still had moments in that match. And so I was like, with somebody who's a little bit more solid on serve and his hitting their groundies solidly, I'm not thinking this is going to be that difficult for Muggs. And so when people are like, "Oh, this is going to be an exciting match," I was like, straight sets, I think. And it was, I mean, it's not like she was playing. I mean, I don't know. Muggs seems very contained and very like comfortable on court right now.
Listen, when she's on, she's on.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's smiling. God forbid she got that on when she was against Venus, but whatever, Gabine.
What about Sloane? You saw some of Sloane's matches, no?
Yeah, that was my question. I was going to ask you guys, what do you think? Actually, I saw all of her matches, and actually one I don't think that even got on TV was the one against Makarova, and that was, I mean, a pretty good test for Sloane. I think she lost the first set pretty easily. And for her to kind of fight back, I mean, Makarova is no joke at times when she's on. And Sloane came back and fought hard. And to me, that was a high quality match at the end. Where do you guys think that she'll go at the Open, or how do you think she'll play?
Is she in the Open? Did she even get it?
Yeah.
She's her ranking's high enough, and
she's back in the top 100.
Yeah,
I mean, really? I think,
okay, cool. Yes, yeah, she's jumped. I think she's in 80. She's in 80 something now.
Yeah,
and she withdrew from New Haven, which is smart. I actually think Sloane has a really good shot at the U.S. Open.
She does.
Like, I think she's fresh, especially now that she's withdrawn. She's fresh. She seems to be enjoying herself. There's no potential Serena encounter anywhere. And I feel like she's playing with like a lightness and a joy that I had not seen from Sloane in a long time until she first came on tour, and the heaviness of it. And I just feel like it is the best time for her to sneak in and get herself possibly all the way to a semi or something. I mean, I can't say she could win, but I'm afraid to say it. But
I'm not even. My problem with Sloane to me is that she's fit, seeming like she's fit, and she has good tennis. But there is no transition game. Sloane can't be back in the back, slugging it out. It's not gonna work in New York humidity. It's not gonna work.
Oh, but that's the thing about Sloane, though. Sloane can slug it out. She can't slug it out with like Caroline Wozniacki, but with everybody else, and she has a winning forehand. She has a winning shot. So, I mean, what was interesting about Sloane this time is that she was patient. Like she had to be willing to slug it out a few rounds and then go for it when she got a short ball. Like I think she could have a good shot.
I think that she got tired. I mean, we have to be realistic. She hasn't played much matches. Yeah, in
a day.
In a day, but she hasn't been here, period. She doesn't have a lot of match play. So I think that was good to see her go as deep as she did. But I think she just was tired. I think that arrested Sloane at the US Open. She's got as much of a shot to win that title as anybody else. It's wide open.
I'm down with all of that, but I just wish I can see her move and be a little bit more aggressive and move forward a little bit to shorten points, because I mean she had some very solid wins, beating Kerber, Makarova, Safashova, and Kvitova. Those are very solid matches, but we know much of those goals are gonna fizzle out in the heat, especially you know what I mean.
Not Makarova. Makarova is very fit. And not Lucy either, not in the heat. I mean, Petra is definitely, but Kerber in the heat of New York, which is where she had her breakthrough, she's not a fizzler. She's very fit. So, I mean, the people, I think what you're probably is like maybe like a Svitolina and a Wozniacki. I think she's getting like she's having problems with those types of players.
Yeah, like Simona too.
And retrievers, like like she's got to figure out how to use her power against those players better. Like you're right. You're right. She can't do that.
She can't. You can't slug it out for 7 rounds. You just can't. You need to be
Chris,
quick.
How was Kerber?
Oof, poor thing.
Chad.
That match actually, I missed that. I actually missed that match because it was going on at the same time as Zverev and Francis. But I know it went forever in a day, and I saw that wonderful handshake at the end. So. But it's lovely. But I didn't see any of the match at all. So,
so tell us, Chad, was the food as great as everybody promised?
The food was fine with me. I mean, it was hit or miss at times, but it was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Now, Janina, when you went, did you go to practices a lot? Because when I heard all the hype about Cincy practices, I was like, who wants to go see a practice? But then when I got there, I kind of got caught up in it.
You do. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on the practice courts. I love it. It's one of the bonuses of that tournament because it's so open. I mean, I felt like last year I saw a lot of changes happening, and I know there were a lot of changes, which you can't really talk about since it was your first time there, but did you notice a lot of players walking around the grounds alone that you could just walk up to?
Does that happen?
There was in Charleston, I saw that a good bit, but the difference at Cincy was that you saw players with people around them more so.
Did you? It's not typically like that there.
Yeah.
Of course, big names always have a security detail, we can call it, but I mean, highly recognizable players are often just wandering from practice or coming from a match alone without anyone other than their team.
Right. I saw both. I did see both. I saw some just wandering around and just by themselves, and then others had a couple of like a guard or some personnel with them. So,
Chad, I know that this is your first time, like she says, but somebody must have pointed out what was new? What was new this year, Janina? Did they create a new building or something there?
That's something supposed to be for next year, but they added a court.
Okay.
It was either a new practice court or new play court. How many courts were there? Do you know?
17, I believe, total.
Oh, wow.
I think it's 17. I believe that's correct.
Do you know how many match courts there were? Were there more than 10?
I'm not sure.
I
really don't.
I know there's some changes there, but yeah, I don't know. I probably should have asked Tony. Did you love Tony?
Tony was amazing. Tony was just everything that I could have hoped for. But wonderful to meet him.
Tony's so funny. He's so funny. I love him.
Yeah, he was great. He was great.
You had the full Applebee experience?
I had the Applebee's experience. Saw a couple. Saw Cater Nooney in there, and a couple of players. I saw Bruno Suarez was in there.
Fucking up some chicken wing. Did you see Berta fucking up some chicken wing?
I didn't get all into their mouth, but
listen, when Roberta Vinci's eating chicken wings, you can't help but notice. I promise you would have noticed.
stop blowing up that poor woman's spot. She loves her.
Oh, that reminds me. I know exactly what we forgot on our thing. And okay, we're good. And who else did you see at the I know Nick is going out. He said when he won, he said I'm gonna be someplace, and he is invite everyone. He's making himself very accessible to the fans.
Some ice cream spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of was a theme. You saw Nick, when his practices were going on, he goofed around a lot. I mean, as well as Monfils and Benoit Paire and also Jack Sock. When they got together and practiced, they actually did volleying for like tennis volleyball or something for like a whole hour. It was entertaining. I know it was bizarre.
Yeah, no, it's not bizarre. It's Jack Sock and Benoit Paire. Trust me, that is so. We would expect anything.
Chad, are you like an autograph hound? Did you get any? Is that what you're?
I'm not. I would prefer to get pictures instead of autographs. I'm not, because I can't ever tell what the hell they're writing. So I'm just like,
you got pictures with everyone?
I didn't get pictures with everyone. I've gotten a bunch of pictures in Charleston, and I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I definitely geek out. I geek out when I get around the players. And but these kids, they're given these huge tennis balls, and I know that, but they get in your damn, and they're chasing the players, and I'm like, you don't know David Ferrer. I know David Ferrer. You didn't know David Ferrer was a smoker. I mean, shit, I know he's a smoker, so let me get his order. Let me get a signature, you know? And these damn kids are chasing him around with these big balls, and I'm talking about the tennis balls, and they are just like, that is okay. So that is one of my irritants. I mean, that really pissed me off, because I'm standing there. Nobody else even knows who the fuck these people. I mean, excuse me, who David Ferrer is.
It's fine. You can use colorful language here.
Okay. So that was. Janina, you know what I'm talking about.
Those kids with their balls are brutal. Listen, my son always has a ball. We don't go for the big giant one, but I do not let him behave like a psycho. And everyone's like, you're not going to let him like run down before the match is over with the ball, are you? And I'm like, yeah, no, we don't do that here.
I'm telling you, those kids are vultures. Can you imagine you're facing match point, and all you can look up the player's about to serve, or you're about to serve, and some badass kids
down, and you know the kids are already coming
down, just down there. In fact, those kids don't even wait for match point. They're looking up at the score. 5-4. We can go down now.
Yeah.
Mommy, let's go.
Listen, there are some brutal adults too. Did you have any experience with crazy adults? Because there are some crazy Rafa fans, the old women will knock you over.
Well, they did that for they were what? Underwear. What?
What did you say, Andreen?
I got you off target. No, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, but they did that. They actually did that for Venus. Venus did a presentation and talked about her clothing line one day, and I was just kind of there first, and I was just going to record it, and I put it on a Periscope. Did a Periscope. I mean, these people are just like trying to butt in front of me, and they'll stick their kid in front of them to get them an advantage, and so I feel stupid. I feel stupid trying to fight a kid, and they know that. But you know what? But then when it came to Joe, I met Joe Songa, and these kids.
Nice?
Okay, so the first practice I went to see him, it was completely booked. I mean, packed, and I had to go like on the grandstand and stand up on the top to get a picture.
Right. Okay.
Now, toward the end of the week, he was still around. I mean, nobody expected him to be around. So it wasn't busy at all. It was also wild matches. So it was nice. Yeah.
But did he talk to you? Because he's not friendly in my experience.
He wasn't that friendly, but I got a picture, so whatever. So
and you got that's all you wanted.
Oh yeah. Okay. You know what? I mean, it is an open secret that the French players are not necessarily the best at the PR friendly, but I'm okay with that. It's okay.
Monfils is an asshole. Songa. he'll stop, he'll sign, but he's not going to talk to you. Gilles Simon is the nicest French player I think
Oh.
Pierre Hug is nice, and you know, you just want to get.
Of course
Did you
he's nice. That
get
my
to
side
get
boo.
close to him and see his cheekbones up close and personal?
Who I did
Pierre?
not get to see his. I didn't see his cheekbone, but
Because Chad ain't checking out his cheekbones.
my
He's checking out his
God.
other cheek.
wait, what? Reels? What was that, Reels?
I said you're not checking out the cheekbones. You're just checking out the cheeks.
Oh,
Not cheeks. That's what you're
He's
checking
like,
out.
oh. Reels, you're out
So
of
before we
control.
let you go, because we know you have to drive back, we asked for 20 minutes and we've monopolized on your time.
Yes, please. Sorry, yeah.
We're gonna have your top 6. I know you have a top 15 list of men's, but you know what? Narrow
You
it
only
down
get
to
do
6
here. Everybody,
Okay.
And
okay.
I
So
know since you're checking out Tearful, the fact that he's 19, we're gonna let that be okay. Let that be okay for now. But generally, he's supposed to be able to drink. You're supposed to take him out for a drink anywhere in the world.
Okay, so now I know that Andrine's not a big Grigor fan, and honestly, I'm not either. But
Okay.
so, but no, he wouldn't be in my top 5 or 6 either.
No.
But he got money now, right? He won a tournament. He got money, and that's all you're concerned about.
Yeah.
So Fognini would be up there.
Yeah.
wow.
God.
Yeah,
No,
pretty. Oh, you're getting
Very
his top 6. You don't get to judge his top 6. Go ahead.
And Joe is old school, you know. Joe Sander,
Of
definitely
course.
old school, and you know David Ferrer
Yeah.
is one of my faves. So, and Body for Days. So David Ferrer is like. Anyway, let's not go there right now. I got to drive in a little bit. So,
That's great.
I love you.
oh my gosh, I got hot. I just got. But anyway, so.
Listen, I totally get your point because people were trying to convince me that if in a choice between Grigor and Ferrer, we'd have to choose Grigor. I was like, on what planet is that a choice we're making as adults?
For adults, that's right. That's right.
Exactly. Only his mama is gonna pick it.
Listen, NC-17. Only Grigor can't come up in
All right,
that.
continue your
Go ahead.
list. Come on.
I mean, Lopez is the classic, I guess, for a lot of folks. Yeah, that works. He works.
For Gregor too.
And for
So
and
just
for,
letting you know that.
and for Grigor too. And the reason he won the tournament is because he touched me before earlier this week. So I was just
bet
good luck
he
to him.
did. Hey, I read that piece how he gushed over
Oh my
Philly.
God.
So yeah, nobody better ever tell me Grigor's not gay ever again.
He was like, I see him in the shower,
His
and I'm like, oh
calves.
God.
His calves.
Oh my
The hair.
god, he gushed
Oh
over
my
Grigor
God.
like a fucking or
I gotta
Grigor
read that
gushed
out. I
over
gotta find that and read
Felly
that out loud.
like it was like a
Calves.
schoolgirl crush.
No, that wasn't a schoolgirl crush. That is not a schoolgirl crush. That is a full-on fantasy.
You're
No,
right.
let's not be
You're right.
full-on fantasy.
It was insane.
Who
So
did I leave out?
who are your top ladies?
I think Sloan is definitely. I think Sloan is beautiful. I really
She's
do.
gorgeous.
So she would be up there. Other ladies, let me think. Give me a name. Anybody else that was there? I mean,
he's gay. He's gay, people. He's gay. Just let it go. Let it go. Chad, I know it's a struggle for me every year. It's a struggle for me every year.
No. I have more.
Let
Monica Puig is hot. Monica Puig is hot. And I think
She
Venus,
is?
of course. I think Monica Puig is.
pretty.
What is
pretty.
hot
She could
about
be
her? She could be pretty.
could be pretty.
Princess.
She don't sweat right. She don't sweat right. She don't sweat beautiful.
I don't even understand how that means.
Fuck sweats beautiful.
No, but no, trust me.
Don't sweat
Some
right.
people look
Yeah,
hot,
right.
like sweaty, but Monica, you gotta clean up Monica. Like Petra. Petra never looks cute on
No.
cold, but you gotta when you clean
No.
up Petra, you're like, what
So
the fuck? This bad.
Oh my god.
Nobody's having that reaction to Petra. That's just you.
You don't, Chad. You don't love Sveta?
No.
I think Sveta's personality is great. I think Sveta is. No. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean that in that kind of way.
That way. It came out that way.
Listen, you know what, Chad? It's okay because it's not like Janina even wants you to be up on Sara. She just wants to
she's mine.
Exactly.
Fuck off.
And Chad, let's be 100 here. The real reason why I'm not fucking with Federer is that I know Federer could beat me in an arm wrestle match. So I'm just like, back off. I'm not trying to fuck with you. You could break my arm. So
Oh my God.
I hear you. Her personality reads her from across the room. Bro.
we've got to let Chad get on the road. He's going to be driving for hours. Let's
so get home safely.
close this
so that I know you're home and that no one tried to deliverance you in the mountains of Tennessee.
The minute is not started.
You are hitchhiked somewhere, okay? I don't want to see you on 90 channel. Okay?
Okay. Thank you guys. I've had a great time.
Thank you
so the
so
podcast
much.
will be out tomorrow, so you can check it out and promote it. So, by the way, did you name your number one man? Just so you know?
His number one man is Federer.
Federer. Okay, just to be clear.
Federer.
Okay.
All right.
Wanted to give you
Chad. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you all. Thanks again, Janina. Have a nice night.
Bye-bye.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.
That was great.
Do we have to?
So, ladies.
Yes. What else?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to talk?
Good.
Well, that was fun. I mean, it's always good to have a great
Chad.
guest
I don't know if we have to
And there he goes. We don't have to what?
Yeah.
I don't know if we have to talk that much.
Oh no, it's always
beyond it. Just be on news now, no?
Yeah.
Yes. So ladies, Gregor won this event, so we're heading into the US Open, and we seem to be all of the big names who. Well, first of all, let's talk about who's not around. Cade decided this week he's not going to play for the rest of the year. Hopefully, he fixes his teeth, but that's just my wish list. That's not why he's not playing for the rest of the year.
Oh my God.
So he can get his body right, which is important because we know Kay is as fragile as a glass of water. So that's interesting. And so Kay is out for sure. Stanley is out for sure. Nole is out for sure. And we half expected but he was like, no, I don't give two shit about my hips. I'm going to be back for the US Open.
I don't think Murray plays the US Open.
He's already there. We'll see.
I know,
already
but
there.
I think he's going to end up pulling out. I could be wrong. I don't know. We'll see.
Look, Murray is determined. If
Girl,
it's one
how
thing,
brave are you with these gestures? Hold to it. Hold the line.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm telling you, Murray.
That's a good
If
idea,
it's one thing, Murray is petulant and he is determined, no matter what. So he sets his mind onto something. As foolhardy it is, he doesn't think long term. Murray thinks in the very near future, and he thinks he wants to push to get himself to be the year at number one, to probably continue it, because I mean it matters not if you push, you know what I mean, because he hasn't done anything for the year.
Well, I think it'd be so difficult for Murray to become to even hold on to it, because he still has lots of things to defend.
Yeah, I mean, Murray's not going to be. Listen,
hard.
if Rafa and Federer continue throughout the year, Murray's a wash, because those two are just gaining points at this point.
Yeah.
Murray's defending. He's stuck. He's going to be bypassed.
Well, he's not taking the L though. He's not taking the early L, because if I were him, I would have been like, you know what? Let me skip the US Open and probably see how I feel like in the fall. To push his already
that would be the
body.
smart thing to do, but
Murray isn't going to do smart things.
I think Murray is feeling a little bit of pride. I think Murray's feeling a little bit of pride about how much of a whimper his number one year was. You know, Murray was number one at the end of last year, and to be honest, he hasn't been able to kind of enjoy it. You know, I mean, I'm not judging it. You know, people are like, "Oh, he's been a worse number one." I mean, the facts.
You don't want to go out like Herbert, and I understand that. You don't want to go out
you know
like
what
Herbert.
I mean. You don't want to go out with a whimper. You worked hard to achieve the number one status, and you kind of haven't done anything with it. You haven't defended any of your major titles with it. You know, it's been like a think about it. It's been a really tragic year for Murray in that sense. I mean, really. So I feel like he probably wants to make that one big push, and he also doesn't have the pressure of doing it in Wimbledon, right? The US Open, it's raucous, it's a wild ride over there. He's figuring, you know what? And look at Murray, he knows. He's like, listen, I could probably struggle tennis like I did at Wimbledon all the way up until the
semis. The semis, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not good. Murray doesn't listen to his body. It's one thing if we know he doesn't listen to his body at all. I mean, granted, it's like you know how he's been crying wolf so many times in his career, right? Like when he's losing a match. Oh my God, my back, my neck, my toe, my shoe, my foot, he's been crying wolf so much. He doesn't know how to listen to his body. And this, I mean, like, your hip is fucked up. You've already had back surgery, which definitely aligns with your hip and whatever the case may be. Take it easy, bro. You're not playing for the money. You don't need the celebrity status. I mean, England is gonna love you no matter what. Brexit or no Brexit. Scotland says bye-bye or nothing. You're it.
Yeah,
look, Dan Evans is on coke, buddy. So yeah, there's nobody below you. You're number one, and that's it. We don't even count anybody else. But Danny is getting married, married, so boo. And y'all don't even want his ass because he's a quote unquote foreigner. So
yeah. But nonetheless, he's about to surrender his number one status to Rafa Nadal on Monday.
Okay. And I think Rafa is feeling a little butt hurt, you know, that he's rolled up in number one like a WTA player, not winning, but still getting.
Oh, man.
You are so fucking brutal.
It's true. Y'all know Rafa is mad. Y'all know Rafa is mad that he's getting that number one. He's mad because he's getting that number one ranking like Pliskova. I ain't doing shit.
You know what was interesting when Rafa lost though this at Cincinnati?
To Shapovalov when he lost in Canada, he said it. He's just like, you know what? It ain't the fact that I lost and I lost a lower ranked player. It's because I ain't getting to be number one as I thought I would have.
But I thought it was interesting just now that he said, well, you know, I don't really play well here. Yeah, I don't like the humidity. And I'm thinking, the fuck? Because, and then I thought, has he won? Motherfucker has won in Cincinnati many times. It's been a while, but he's won.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I was just like, well, why are you making up excuses?
This is why I can't.
He won in 2013. You know what's interesting though? I will say that Rafa has been brutal. Rafa's been brutal about his losses. And not complimentary, you know what I mean? Like, and I mean, which of course, you know, Rafa, you know, when Rafa is not complimentary, nobody calls him on it because somehow or another he says it with that accent.
But had it been Serena, saying, Serena didn't even say that shit.
Yeah, he says it with this adorable accent. So everybody's like, oh, his feelings are hurt. But like, I mean, he was brutal in his commentary about the Shapovalov loss. And I was like, well, dude, you were outplayed.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, maybe, you know, you're right. He's like, it's my worst loss ever. I was like, I don't know. You've had some pretty bad ones. Federer kicked your ass a few times this year.
I mean,
like, this was actually, you know,
you
like,
lost to Steve Dassis, buddy.
You know, but it was just
what he's saying is, I'm not supposed to be losing to you.
But you know what's so interesting about Rafa on hard courts? And that's somebody, you know, people worry about Rafa. Listen, Rafa doesn't have to worry about the top guys on hard courts. He sometimes doesn't even get close enough to them to get his ass beaten. That's why we've never had a Rafa and Federer match at the US Open, because he usually has gotten beaten by somebody, or most recently Federer has gotten beaten. But, you know, Rafa doesn't have to worry about the top guys. Yeah, these randoms that come up and have like a fantastic match.
But you see, I think because these random, it's the random. It's the same thing I saw when he played Muller, right? It's like what these top guys are doing. They keep playing Rafa game, playing him how he wants to be played. He controls everything. And these scrubs and these satellite players, astronauts are like, we're gonna short the points. We ain't got time out here.
Well, they might be like, I don't have time. I can't.
Exactly. Exactly. They know they can't run up and down with this motherfucker because you know what? Tomorrow they gotta play a challenger, so they don't have time to sit out here with Rafa into a 5-hour match. They got 2 challenges next week, so they're thinking, you know what? I need to get out here in and out. Shapovalov, he can't do nothing else. He got a wild card.
No, but you know what?
I know Rafa should have been. I understand Rafa being mad that he lost to that, but you know what, buddy? Suck it up, Buttercup. Suck it the fuck up. You come to Cincinnati and you're trying to cry about, I don't like the balls here. I don't like the humidity. You know what, motherfucker? Well, change the weather. And you can't talk about fucking humidity when you're coming to New York next week. So shut the fuck up about that. If you don't like the balls, get on the fucking player council and tell them I need new balls.
Listen,
Because
he's not going to achieve that.
If you have enough pull to get rid of the umpire in the chair, you have enough pull to change the balls. And the balls are gonna be there anyway, and it's the same balls.
Nobody's changing balls. Nobody's
it's
changing
the same balls your opponent playing with. It's the same humidity. So shut the fuck up, Buttercup, and deal with it.
But he gets to be number one. He gets to be number one for what, maybe 2-3 weeks, depending on how it all shows up. No, I mean that's kind of what it is. It's still open. Like I think depending on how the US Open goes, there's a possibility. So he's number one this week, and then another week, and then like I guess throughout the US Open. So he gets to maybe become number one for a couple more weeks.
Depending points. Yeah, because he played.
Yeah, it's defending 180 points. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, congratulations to Rafa returning to number one. I mean,
yeah.
Listen, you gotta you get what you pay
last
for.
Year. Shout out number
that he
one
wouldn't have ever gotten here.
Far more arduous. I mean, I didn't think none of it was easy, but I mean, like, I expected that whatever was ailing Nole or whatever is ailing Nole, he would have righted that ship somewhat. You understand what I'm saying? But I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
Rafa,
it's
got
a very odd
strength of clay
that we're in 2017 and Raja and Rafa are standing on top of the heap still. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And that nobody is necessarily.
You know what?
I mean, but this
people who are
is a
behind
matter
them
of a
are kind of.
right?
It's coming. Like you've got 4 people taking a break from the tour, which has now opened up some slots for young people. And you know, the other thing is sometimes, because this is what I think this is one of the interesting things about people leaving the tour, is that their fear has always been historically that you leave the tour and you come back and the tour has moved on beyond you, right? That's the fear. And the question becomes, if you take time off of this tour and you allow people to get comfortable playing well and get on a run, will you be able to surpass them when they come, when you return, right? That's the question. It's like, okay, because that's what people are counting, right? Nole's like, well, I don't think the tour is going to change that much. So by the time I return, I should be able to slot right back up in there. Yeah. I think it's the same thing that other people are assuming. And I think for Nole, he's clearly talented and a stellar player. So I think that might work. But the question is like, what if Grigor suddenly feels himself and is like, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm pretty good. I'm a solid player. I think I want to stay here. You know what I mean?
And that's fine because
people could do that.
He has the talent to do it.
But this is what I'm confused about. When people talk about this, like, oh, taking a break is a strategy kind of thing. Look, your body needs the break. It definitely does. You have a human body and not a machine, right? And other players take breaks all the time. Lower rank players take breaks. Not the top guys, but that's just my thing. But lower rank players take break and they try to find their way back in whatever. But for me, I am very surprised that top rank players don't take more breaks more often. Because that's what I'm saying.
Historically, they've never done it because they've always, yes, obviously to us, when we look at the ranking system, yes, when Novak comes back, he'll be like 16. Federer was like 16. And all he needed to do was win. But see, all you need to do is win a slam and you're suddenly bumped up there. But not everybody trusts that they're going to be able to go deep in tournaments. I think that was just an assumption that it wasn't going to be possible. It was at a certain place where people now feel like, well, you know, I might have like a resurgent run. I might be able to get my ass to a final, a Masters final. And suddenly you're back in the thick of things. Like, look what happened to Sloane. Sloane was what, 900 and something? She comes back, makes 2 semifinals. Mm-hmm. And suddenly she's right. But think about Delpo. Meanwhile, Delpo's come back and still struggling to get his ranking all the way up.
Well, to the point Delpo where has been struggling to make any real deep runs. That's been his problem, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna play one good match.
Yeah, and then has
to go home and then get injured. So his problem wasn't his ability; it was just that his body just wasn't allowing him to maintain any sort of like consistency. But I mean, I'm hoping that people would preserve their bodies because I mean, there is no need.
That hasn't been the trend. That's what I'm saying. It is new on some level. I think Serena and Vika.
And I'm glad that it's happening.
But I think a lot of players didn't do it. They struggle with injuries. Like, how many times do we see WTA players arriving with wrapped legs? And we're like, girl, take the time off, you know? But they're like, we have to play with injuries. That's been the mentality for a really long time.
Again, I'm really surprised because if you look at the Williams sisters' career, they've been taking lots of breaks. Whether for whatever reason.
But look at how much they used to be criticized for it, and now we talk about how amazing it is that they have this longevity in their career.
But they have always, for a lot of the time, they have taken the break, barring like there were like some serious injury, like Serena, Venus with the Sjogren syndrome, and that of their sister. They sometimes shut it down pretty early, pretty much after the U.S. Open, because they're preserving their body. I think because they understood that, look, no one, the interesting thing about the sad part about sports and how people react to sports and whatever the case may be, maybe this is a social media trend, like in the age of social media, everybody wants to stay current and relevant constantly. But I mean, your body isn't going to hold up with that. And as soon as you're in a wheelchair and you're done with, people forget you. They're not cheering for you. So winning covers a multitude of sins, and you need to preserve and protect your body because it's the only one you're gonna get. Okay.
Well, I just hope. Listen, I don't even care. I just hope that Federer is preserving and protecting his body because I want him to come back healthy and have a great run at the U.S. Open. That's just all I want right now.
That's all she wants. And also, Venus has been forced to rest by actually losing in the tournament a little bit early than she probably would have wanted, but she said she was going to go home and rest. So, I mean, anything else noteworthy that happened in Cincy that we should pay attention to aside from the fact that who's won it? I mean, at least on the men's side, does anything impress you guys about Grigor's run?
Listen, Grigor does this every once in a while. This isn't surprising. This isn't new. It's just that you have to, remember who wasn't around. Somebody was going to win that was new this time. I mean, it was a given. So good for him for taking advantage of that opportunity. But it's not surprising for Grigor to win a Masters. Not really. He has the game. He's just not consistent. That's been his issue. So, it's not. I'm happy
and
for
also,
him.
there's just not many stumbling blocks in the way because had everybody been there, Grigor had to face one of those players who was absent in the quarterfinals.
Right. So, I mean, it's kind of, I'm happy for Grigor. I'm plenty happy for him. I would have preferred Kyrgios win because I like him better just in general. It's just a matter of who's your fave in this situation. But it was a good tournament for both of them. I'm happy. I was really, really happy to see how he handled Rafa. I wish he could get up like he does for everyone. But I did, when he said, because he said on court today, Kyrgios said, it is incredibly hot out here. And I was like, it's been hot all fucking week. And I asked Maya, has he been playing mostly at night? Well, apparently he had. So, okay, fair enough. But still, dude, you're a tennis player. You play in the heat. I want to see him come out like he came out with Rafa every single time. He would be such a fucking beast. I saw some comments on Twitter that he's a serve bot. He's not a serve bot at all. He's got a massive serve, but Kyrgios has a pretty good game all around.
I think the reason why people saw him a serve bot because I think like yesterday and today in particular, the only thing that was necessarily working for him was his serve. And I would say, Nicholas,
but that's not his game.
Get yourself a coach.
That's not his game. He's much more of like, there's more that usually
he's pretty good at net. He moves well.
At net, he didn't do any of that.
I think he knows the top guy's game very well, that he can do that on automatic pilot. He doesn't need any sort of like coaching strategies because God's sake, he's seen them win every goddamn thing anyway, so he know what they are like inside and out.
But it's more motivation,
except for Murray. Murray.
Sure, but
I would say he needs a coach. He needs to get a coach. He needs to get a fitness physio.
You know what's interesting?
He needs to figure out how best to maximize his body.
For the first
whether
time,
needs to not play every goddamn week.
For the first time in a very long time, I actually heard the commies today talking about how Kyrgios is actually doing okay without a coach. And I found that very interesting. They were like, you know what? I don't think he needs a coach right now. He's doing all right. He knows what he needs to do. I think he probably needs a physio. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, you don't see him. I think he needs something. Yeah.
You need a proper team.
I'm trying to think if
Yeah.
I've seen him shirtless. I just feel like he's so skinny. And I feel like he's at that age.
Listen, he needs to do the same thing Sarah is doing. Which is getting stronger in the legs, getting ready to be able to kind of because the other thing that happened in this game, he was just outplayed by Grigor, like in terms of retrieval and being able to run down every ball. Like if you're like, okay, fine, your balls, nothing's working in your game, okay, then keep with your serve. But the other thing that happened with him is that he kind of got frustrated and gave it away. The breakaway, and you could see it happening. Like he was just like you could feel him like, I'm done. This isn't working. Nothing's working for me right now. I'm gonna be done.
I feel like he looked a little bit tired. He didn't have that pep in your step, but those are the changes that you have to make off court to be able to maintain that level of physicality at the business end of a tournament. It's one thing to get there. It's a whole nother thing to win. We've heard it over and over and over again, how much happens when you're in a final, physically, emotionally, everything's amplified. So you have to be first and foremost, physically prepared to handle that, be able to channel that energy in a positive way. I mean, so many times today, I'm thinking, I'm yelling at my TV, pull the fucking trigger. And he's just keeping the ball in play. And I'm like, this is not the Kyrgios that we saw all week. It's not.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
That was what was frustrating me, and that's what I think everyone was calling him a self bot, because you would wonder, like, dude, you just popped in 120 something miles an hour. But the fuck? Well,
today he was. It wasn't working
against Federer. He was doing a little bit of that, because interesting enough, Federer was the one. I'm surprised that even why we keep seeing Federer play a shitty tiebreaker, because Federer looked far more invested in Nick's service game. That Nick was in Federer's service game.
Well,
and I
to me,
he's a coach.
Actually, Nick has been a coach in terms of not being able to break easily.
But you know what?
I mean, have you ever seen somebody get taken to a freaking tiebreak by Federer? Federer often gets broken in matches. Often, you know what I mean? It's fun. So I'm like sitting here going, "How are you getting your ass to a tiebreak?"
But this is how I saw it. He got to the tie break that he shouldn't have been to, because you're right. He should have been able to break Federer. However, he turned it up in the tie break. That shows you that when he's invested, he has another level to go to. So I want to see that level all the time when necessary. We know that players play at a level that they need to play to win. And that's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Win however you need to win. But when you obviously have another level and you don't take yourself there, it's so frustrating to watch. And I feel like that's what happened today. I mean, Grigor played great tennis. He did. He played
smart tennis. He played solid, smart tennis. And what I noticed about him today was that he was completely dialed in.
Yes, from the beginning.
This was the Grigor who I saw in Melbourne at the beginning of the year playing Rafa.
Right.
This Grigor turned up. And I really like that. I'm impressed.
Good court knowledge.
Unit. Yes.
Yeah.
And he looked
yeah.
I don't always agree with BG, but BG said something I thought was rather interesting. Or somebody said something. I think you mentioned as well, Andre, was that Nick didn't play like he's playing the top 4 players.
No, he played like he's playing somebody.
And Grigor played like he wasn't playing one of them. Exactly.
Yeah.
So Grigor would turn this up against, and he usually because the top 4 player wasn't in there, Grigor could turn it up, and he could be free and do whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah, he was like man about town this week. He's like without anybody else. I mean, I guess I don't know if that's just his personality.
Exactly.
Suddenly he's like,
I'm dancing like nobody's watching. As soon as the camera is on, I'm like, oh, I'm fucking over. I'm really happy with the result with who got to the final. Thank God, sweet Jesus, John Isner wasn't there.
Good final. I mean, I didn't love the final. For me, I would have liked it to be 3 sets.
I was really hoping.
I would have enjoyed Nick playing. Like, I just, you know what? I was fine with the winner, whoever, Grigor, good for him getting a Masters. It's hard to get Masters; those are really rare. He's actually part of a very rare club. Yeah. The thing from you though about it is like I just would have enjoyed seeing this matchup when each of them was playing at the level that they're capable of. Yes. Nick wasn't playing at his capable level. Grigor was definitely playing. And what's interesting is that Grigor was playing at his best level and Nick still kept it competitive, which tells you how much Nick's capacity, for greatness really is in some ways, because he was still able to keep it fairly close. Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't interesting tennis to me though all the time. There were some good points, but half the time I'm like, this is
the whole match wasn't great.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Like you could do better than this, Nick.
I said to myself, do better. What are you doing? Pull the trigger.
Well, yesterday I was actually screaming at the TV as I was preparing cooking. I was watching it on my computer. I was like, fucking Nicholas, what are you doing? Like, why are we still, you know what, Andre? This looked like when we watched that
the Sangha match?
No, US Open. We were watching Mikael Ymer play a Korean kid.
Yeah, it was hanging on the baseline.
Hanging on the baseline, constant rallying.
Yeah,
and Grigor was just like, you do that, boo. You do that, boo, because you know what? Your ass ain't fit. And I can pull the trigger whenever I want to. And that's why Nick wore Nick down.
Yeah.
Because Nick was getting frustrated because he knew he was getting run around and he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, he wasn't controlling the
Probably Federer played Federer yesterday didn't help because Federer was going to do that shit to you as well. But Nick needs a team. He needs a proper solid team.
I know.
He needs a proper solid team. He needs a really good coach who has to teach him match strategy. And they have to teach Nicholas, even though you don't want to be there, you need to be there. You need to have a solid game.
The thing is, how are you going to not be there for a final? Do you know what I mean? But again, it really is just about who he's playing across the court. Because, I mean, it's true. Like, if he was playing a Nadal, I really think he would have figured out what the hell he was going to do with himself out there.
Yep.
And also, maybe he did the exact same thing. Because after everyone that he talked to, everyone apparently had a good relationship. So maybe it's like the Murray effect. They've all been so nice to him that it doesn't bring out his killer instincts.
Exactly.
He kept saying the same thing about Federer, and now he said the thing about
This
Grigor.
is a very crazy side. Back in the day, I don't know if you Janina. Back in the day when you watch gymnastic tournament, the girls used to all be mean mugging it on the sideline.
Right.
Nobody trying to talk to each other.
Oh,
Somebody get on, but then it's like, you can go, girl, get to the fuck up, bitch.
It used to be
these
like
men need to do that. Exactly. Stop being fanboys. I ain't trying to say go and do Tanya Hard with somebody. I'm not saying Tanya Hard is a bitch, okay? I'm not saying to be Nancy Kerrigan a bitch, okay? I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying you need to realize that they're not necessarily working in your best interest.
You gotta put your game face on.
You need to beat them in order to get money. Be like Serena. If Serena could look Venus across the net, I'd be like, fuck you, bitch. Trust me. You ain't got no problem getting rid of your best friend across the net. So, Serena didn't even decide to share. So
are we excited about the NYC coming up? Are we like, does this?
We are.
Oh, we are?
I mean,
okay. Oh.
I'm excited because, Andreina's going to be in town. So that's going to be cute.
You guys have something else to look forward to, whatever. I'm going to be on my couch.
We're gonna have to,
but you know what?
Come and drag your ass.
Listen, I mean, oh God, I don't.
It'll be fun. Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
I think So this was a great Cincy new champs, right? All new, right?
Yeah.
Muguruza's never won it, and Grigor's never won.
Muguruza finally won a big title, right? She won a big title.
A big title outside of a slam.
She's like, I'm so tired of just.
And you know what? You know what I saw? You know what I'm surprised at? I predicted she and Sam were gonna be over, but I saw Sam smiling, which is a very rare thing. Sam didn't even smile when Vika won. So Sam smiling is a really great, maybe an odd and freaky, crazy thing, but he's smiling.
Yeah.
Adidas finally figured out how to dress Gabinia. So somebody got her some good clothing. I mean, black might not be appropriate because, but you know what? She's burying these bitches on tour right about now. So, hey, girl, you do what you need to do. And I have to say, oddly enough, I think because Serena, Maria, and Federer hasn't been around, Nike was really able to allow their real designers to come out of the shackle they've been, because they've only been designing for 3 people. But the kits for the people and the rest of the plebs on Nike look really cute. I love that shade of blue and Grigor, and the red and blue combo looks really cute. So Good job, Nike. You have to give credit where credit is due. Your peeps are looking really nice.
Sloane Stephens looked better than anybody. That woman knows exactly what to put next to her skin.
I'm sorry.
That color was beautiful.
He's not a fan of the high waist, but I like the color. The color is gorgeous.
I'm not a fan of that dress so much. It could be better, but the color, oh my God, she just looks so beautiful.
It doesn't flatter her body. Still need some pum shots.
Leave her. Why you keep wanting to put her in short shorts? But I mean, the color was great. The color was great. Listen, this is all we need for U.S. Open. All we need for U.S. Open is a freaking mad run by an American woman, not a man.
No, God damn it. Be very clear. Be very clear. Be very clear.
That's what I'm saying. We'll have to be very clear. By an American woman that is preferably not racist. And that would be it'd be fantastic. Imagine if you could get yourself a Keys Sloane final.
Wow.
I think you would get some real legs. WTA might be shocked by the increased interest.
Really?
I think you would. I think you get a lot of buzz.
Not only what I'm afraid of is that you're gonna see some low-key racism coming out of the woodworks for your ass.
Not in New York. Not in New York. Not in that way. Not in that way. Plus, also remember, people don't treat Sloane the way they treated the Williams sisters. She somehow avoided that in some way. I don't know what that magic is.
It's no magic. It's because she's always in their shadow. That's all.
We don't see you, girl. We don't see you.
So a good run by Sloane or a good run by an American woman would be a non-racist.
An American black woman. Let's keep it real. We don't want Coco.
I'm sorry. Yes. Madison is, sorry.
Not Coco.
So
we don't want anybody but Coco. It doesn't even have to be a black woman. It just has to not be Coco. I'm fine with Ashley Barty taking a great run, or any one of those.
She's Australia. She's Australian.
Right.
You can't claim her.
I'm thinking of Allison Riss.
I'm thinking of someone else.
Wants to get rid of Ashley Barty though. Peggy wants to get rid of her.
But anyways, like I said, it just can't.
Can't be Coco.
With fucking Coco. First of all, her name is Coco.
We'll see. So we're the next time we all get together will be our draw show.
It will be live. We will have a theme. It will be amazing. No, we don't know what it is yet.
It might be Friday or Saturday.
It will be on Friday, right? Friday. We normally do it Friday night, right? It's gonna be. The draw comes out next Friday, y'all. It's insane. Shut the fuck up. Next Friday.
Are you serious?
Crazy. Yeah. It's next Friday.
You just totally made me feel stressed out.
Welcome to the world.
Damn it. Okay.
The US Open is August 28th?
Yes, it's early.
Wow.
Oh, it's back being early?
Because you know why? Because Labor Day is September 4th. So that's the second Monday. So it's pretty,
you're right.
It's coming up really quickly. Next weekend, we'll be back.
Y'all ready?
For the draw show. And look at us. We're so good.
Yes, but before we go, let's just get into a little bit of news because we ain't nothing without our Realz news. And
I think we tackled all the news.
I know.
I thought we tackled news.
No, we didn't tackle news.
I know what you want to talk about, and I don't want to talk about it, but go on.
Hold on. We're not going to talk about the fact that Maria is being as messy as fuck and petty as shit.
No,
we're not going to talk about that.
She got her wild card, and she's going to speak to children. Good for her.
She's not even going to end up playing. Watch.
Or she'll play and lose in the first round.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a waste.
Girls, I was looking at the field. I was looking at the field, and I was like, Maria, maybe you should have played down here. Could have gotten some extra points. Cincy.
But I just wanted to talk about some domestic matters.
I want
to talk about Vika and her baby and her baby daddy.
I'm about to go the fuck off.
Yes, they people wear a condom, people birth control. Those things are effective and they can save a life. But, let's not all forget that we can be cooking with Sara Errani's mother.
Oh, yes. Oh my God. Doping pastas. I don't, where are we going to get doping pasta? I didn't know we could.
Never eat pasta with Italians, apparently.
Maybe the same place Maria be getting her Meldonium from because we still don't know where that's coming from. So maybe.
Doping pastas.
Just maybe. I mean,
so she's out.
damn.
She's out for a couple months, right, Sarah? Sarah, I mean,
listen,
I
here's
have to
the problem.
say the excuses are weird, but people shouldn't be so eager to accept her excuses because she was affiliated with that cycling doping guy.
Yes, the doctor.
Years
the blood
ago,
bag
the doctor,
guy,
the blood
isn't
bag
it?
doctor, and all of that mess. So I think the fact that people are eager to give her a pass when her name has come up in other instances seems strange to me. But
And listen, she just acts weird. Like she acts altered.
Why?
But she speaks in terms of grunts.
But again,
I swear.
But you know what? Again, you see, I can't help but not be surprised in a situation like this of the racial and nationalistic component, right? Because the whole Sara Errani story was just weird and just funky as fuck. The whole way it came out, the whole situation that she tested positive in April, but now she's serving the ban today, and then she give up some fucking crazy excuse that it's the mother's pasta.
And why is she only getting
all
like
the goddamn
some
things
months?
is the pasta? She didn't even say someone slipped her Mickey or some shit like that. She said her mother medication fell into her tortellini. Bitch,
You know what?
get the. I mean, like,
I've got
at what point do we
nothing.
say
I got
this is some
nothing,
crazy
man.
shit?
I got nothing.
Some
You can
weird
even talk about it.
excuses.
It's so fucking stupid.
I'm
And
just
why
like,
isn't it a
what
bigger
is this
story?
shit?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Nobody cares because it's Sara Errani. Like the average person doesn't even know who she is. You have to be, she's kind of been away for so long.
No. People drag Bethany Maddox stands into the dirt as much as they can for her dodgy TEU. Even when Venus and Serena followed the
I think that was
protocol.
a different, but I think that was a different circumstance because it was happening to lots of people all at once. Okay, so across many different sports, but nobody fucking knows who Sara Errani is, so it's not a big story. This is an isolated incident in the term, whereas Bethany Maddox Sands was surrounded by other names. So
no, Bethany Maddox Sands' name stand alone. She was alone in that situation. She was.
No, it was the whole Fancy Bears thing, Realz, and they kept talking about a whole bunch of stuff.
Bethany Maddox Sands didn't come out because of Fancy Bear.
When the story
Bethany
broke,
Maddox Sands was different.
when the story broke and got some attention, it was because it was around that Fancy Bears stuff.
Oh, I thought
that's when
so there was
people
another
started
situation.
talking about it. So the situation was different because she was surrounded by other names, bigger names across multiple platforms of sports. Sara Errani and Bethany Maddox Sands isn't huge in tennis. I mean, no, but Sara Errani's probably even smaller than she is. So nobody fucking cares. She's not going to get the attention that Sharapova's getting, because of her failed doping test, because nobody fucking cares about her. She isn't doing anything for anyone. She's not a big star. They just don't care. That's it.
People keep
Which is
saying
bullshit.
But
I don't agree with it. They should be talking about it every goddamn day. It's a black mark on the sport.
Yeah, it's
nobody's
interesting
talking
that
about it.
That journalists. I mean, it's fine if I as a fan don't care, right? Because that's my job. My job is just to care about who I care about. But as people who cover the sport, I'm surprised that that story didn't get more likes. And also, I didn't see anyone make the link between the fact that Errani had already been connected with some sort of like dubious folks in the past. But I think the reason why realistically is I don't think you're ever going to get the tennis coverage to really focus on doping, because I think the people who cover the sport are pretty sensitive to the fact that a major doping scandal of any form would probably damage the sport and therefore take their jobs too. So I think they're almost as cautious as anyone else about how they're going to cover doping. Ultimately, like I think that's the thing. It's like I don't know if for some reason. I mean, you guys, we talk about this a lot. Other sports just have a different version of how they're supposed to conduct themselves in the sport. They don't. I think maybe because those people are sports people and they cover other sports. So, but I feel like with people with tennis, it's like I cover tennis. So if you attack tennis or you do anything that seems to like put it in disarray, then you're liable to say, tennis is going to get screwed. And that means I get screwed, whereas if you're just a general reporter that covers sports in general, then tennis just falls off your radar, but there are other sports that you have to cover. Right. So that's my assumption. My assumption is that I think reporters are too embedded in the whole thing to actually be able to take those things really, really seriously. And fans don't care ultimately at the end of the day, because, you know, it's like, I think fans are also pretty protective of
fans don't care until Serena tested positive.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. Yeah, fans don't care until it affirms their belief about the player that they hate, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, I think if Federer became suddenly thing, then all the Rafa, Nole, everybody fan would be like, this is a travesty. And if the reverse was happening, the other fandom would say the exact same thing. You know,
I don't know. When Maria got caught with doping, everybody jumped up and be like, a lot of crazy people jumped up in her defense. But you know, I hear obviously that y'all are saying, but I'm still really,
the pasta defense didn't work. I don't understand how that was allowed.
I'm exactly, and that's the thing that bothers me, is that there's scrutiny. I can understand you don't want to be whatever the case, like you're trying to protect them, whatever, but you can't print this bullshit and try to act like it's real. It's like it's factual, like it's plausible. The pasta defense and Maria bullshit run of excuses. This is just, to me, this is why I continue to say I cannot take tennis seriously. I can't take these people seriously.
It's fun, though. It's fun. I mean, I think tennis becomes so much easier to enjoy when you realize that they don't take themselves that seriously, and that it's a little bit of a wink and a nudge. It's like, wink, wink, you know, let's, you know, I mean, because honest to goodness, what have we said? All along, we've said no one has had a serious press conference with Maria Sharapova where they've said to her, what are you going to be doing about your medical condition? What are the drugs that you were able to now use? Are you now going to be reporting them on your forms?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, honestly, if people really took that seriously, they would actually be like, you know, she had, and we like, just like when we talked about Venus's Sjogren's syndrome, and people ask questions about and ask about treatment, we would actually be doing those same things. If anyone really bought into her excuses, we should be actually seeing her return and be like, so let's talk about this heart condition and what is this going to mean for you as you get older? I mean, but the fact that no one seriously covers it in any real shape or form, it just tells you, everybody was like, we get it. You know what I mean? Let's move on.
Yeah, I get that. But you know what? But you know what's even more insidious than that omission is that in the absence of that, they're still pushing hard this narrative that she was a victim of this entire situation and not the author of her own destruction.
Yeah, let's not go
That's the thing that's really messy. And I'm getting the same sense that somehow, you know, like, let's brush Errani under the rug because
to help. Because
But I mean,
and because a lot of people made mistakes between it, right? Because the Italian Federation knew about it and still gave her a wild card, right? So lots of mistakes were made from many people after her doping issue, right? Because instead of giving it to Schiavone. That's kind of scary to me. Like, why would you willingly gave something to a player that you knew had already messed up?
So what's really going on in the Italian Federation, right? Because y'all are responsible for match fixing.
But remember the gambling thing. That was a huge chunk of that was based out of Italy. I hate to say that. So you can't.
Yeah. So closely. I mean, like tennis, like y'all are the way in which y'all are pretending shit ain't happening and trying to be like, don't look at this divert. Look, y'all are begging for a huge scandal. I thought BuzzFeed tried to do y'all a solid and tell y'all a clean house quickly, but apparently y'all are looking to be messy as fuck. But
I know.
Nonetheless, so ladies, I was really eager to hear you two say something about the Vika baby and baby daddy situation because I saw a lot of wild fuckery on Twitter. I mean, I just felt that, you know, I was just like, look, I need my ladies, my hostesses to set things straight, and particularly since we have one who is a mother who never lets her forget that she's a mother, and also who always get her family life get in the way of our podcast. I really want to hear what you ladies have to say about the situation, because I'm as a man, I mean, like, apparently first of all, some people, I don't have any say because I'm a man, right?
Well, first of all, I think everybody misunderstood why Vika cannot show up at the US Open. And it's not that she cannot, she simply chooses not to, because she's in the middle of a custody battle. And if you're in the middle of a custody case at any kind of legal proceeding, you cannot take your child and go anywhere. That's usually the case, right? So that's why she cannot take her child to New York. She could take herself to New York.
Right.
And she's chosen not to do that. And I think the reason why she says is because she doesn't trust her husband to take care, or her boyfriend to take care of the child well. Which is strange because I'm pretty certain that nannies are employed for these things normally. But, you know, so I think that's an initial misunderstanding, is that people thought it was some sort of like punitive move by the boyfriend, but I think it's a legal problem, right?
The judge, yes. It's
They're in a custody battle.
Yeah.
And
they're in a custody battle, and it is traditionally upheld that when you are in a custody battle, either parent, he wouldn't be allowed to take that child
to do it either. Yeah.
So it is not unique. This happens every single day. This is the law. It is not about a working mother. It's not about a working father. It is about the safety of the child, because it happens every single day that parents don't get along and one of the parents kidnaps the other child.
Yep.
That's what this is about. And that's what people are
missing. Sally Fields, right? Not without my daughter. Hello, people.
But so, that was a legitimate situation, though.
But I mean, I'm not saying it's not legitimate.
She had legitimate reasons to be fearful.
Right.
But normal people have this issue.
That she can, because she's not a citizen of America, and therefore they can't take away her passport, because she can't travel anywhere in America without the passport. So they can't say, like, you leave your passport, as it were. They can tell him that. They can tell the boyfriend that because they believe he's American. But she can take this child to Belarus and then leave the child in Belarus and travel around the world.
That's right.
And play tennis. Nobody, you can't lock her up for kidnapping per se, because it is technically her child, and there really is.
You can kidnap your own child. Oh, yes, you can.
I mean, they can't necessarily lock her up in that capacity, because in Belarus, she said that she has a legal standing to say that the child should be with her.
Yeah.
Well, that's
so that
not
is the other issue.
Here. Well, yeah,
no, but I mean that. But if she took the child to Belarus, the law would be respectful there. But it doesn't hold any weight for us here. You know what I mean? For him here. I mean, I think a lot of people are all up in there. Honestly, my interpretation of people is, first of all,
they're all up in their feelings.
Everyone's really feeling it because they're going to miss Vika's tennis. First of all, that's all you're going to miss. You're missing her tennis. None of these people are friends with Vika. We have no idea what's going on in the relationship. We have no idea who's a good mom or whether he's the good father. None of us know that, because 2-3 weeks ago, Vika was saying he was a great dad. Now that she's in the middle of a custody battle, she's saying he's not a great dad. How are we going to know that? You can't make any of those judgment calls. So it feels weird to me that people are weighing in on what a horrible person he is, when realistically, I feel like, how do you know that? He says he wants to be a father to his child. He, strangely enough, all of the theories about him being like a gold digger has to go to the wayside, because guess what? His parents are wealthy. So that's not the problem. So guess what the problem is? They are two people who are living separate lives who have to share custody of a child. That means it's going to get very complicated. And Vika is not going to be able to have the child with her 100% of the time. It doesn't make sense that that's going to happen. Because if he has ways and means to take care of that child, I don't see how a judge is going to decide, hey.
And they won't. The judge won't. It doesn't happen the way it used to
especially if her job requires her to be traveling around the world and be training on a side court.
You know what the judge is going to tell her? Get a new job. That's what the judge is going to tell her. You want to be
compromise or compromise with the job.
Right.
Yeah, or compromise your job. You're not going to go. Yeah,
I've lived this life. I'm speaking from experience. You know what the judge says first and foremost? Try to work it out yourselves.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even be here in court. If y'all can work it out, that's what you should do. And yes, I can draw up a visitation schedule, a payment, everything. I can do all that for you. But if you can work it out yourselves and nobody's upset that the other person didn't follow it 100%, that's how it works. That's exactly how it works. And that's how it should work. But the
minute you get the law into your situation, there's gonna get all kind of situation because social work is gonna get involved.
But then you lose control. You lose control because if it is a custody situation, you have a social worker that's gonna have to watch you during visitation to make sure you're a fit parent. I mean, there's just all this other people in
There's so many things but people are I just feel like the tennis world right now is kind of shaming this father. Like, how dare you make her make this choice? Honey, no, she has no more right to that child than he does. None.
But she's
They're both parents.
She's a mother. Because it's me, it was a lot of primacy of the mother. And I mean, listen, I get that. I was raised by a single mom. But this is one of those situations where this child is fortunate that both people want to be involved. So there's no primacy given to one over the other. There really isn't, especially because both of them are equally capable. I think what would have really gotten people's panties in a twist is if it was in the reverse. What if it was the reverse and the guy was the player we knew and he was demanding that the woman give up her job or her life and travel with him around the world? Everybody be like, outrageous. How dare you expect her to give up her life? What the heck is this? I mean, come on. Like, it's like, you know what? This is what we're actually going to finally see what it's like to be a tennis mom who's actually a single mom, not a married mom. And everybody's like, well, Federer takes. I'm like, because they're married. You're willing to make those sacrifices when you're on the road.
And she was doing just that before they had kids anyway.
But that's what I mean. It's like you make this sacrifice. Like if they were still in a romantic relationship, this would be a non-issue because he'd be invested because he would go with her couple, and he'd be. But at this point in time, the question is, what if he had a job? Okay, fine, he doesn't have a job. What if he wants to start dating? Like, how's that going to work? Like, what if he wants to start having a family of his own? So he's just always going to piggyback on her life. She travels 70% of the year, you know? Right. So it's like, I mean, to my mind, it's a complicated, horrible situation.
And nobody wants to live their life centered around someone else that they're not necessarily.
But nobody's a villain here. Nobody's a villain. He's not a villain, and she's not a villain. There are two people who have to now compromise. Everybody keeps saying it's like I don't understand it. Like people are strange. I'm like, listen, Vika chose to abscond from New York. She could have gone to New York and done what other mothers have done through the centuries with the help of FaceTime. She could have seen. That's what mothers do. You know, I mean, talk to immigrant moms. Talk to moms who have to leave their kids in one country and go work someplace else. I mean, these are the things. Those are working moms who are really vulnerable and don't have any power. Vika is extremely wealthy.
And need to work. And they need to work. And
she's an extremely wealthy woman compared to what we are and how everybody else is. She is making choices and has options. I get it. It's like it's constrained. She's a female. The system's stacked against her theoretically. I don't know how it's stacked against white women, wealthy white women, but you know, somebody can convince me of it. But I mean, she's not like every other working mom who basically, what do you get? 6 weeks? I know that's what my boss had, 6 weeks, and then you got to go. You got to go. You got to leave them in daycare. You got to get yourself a nanny. You got to go away for 8 hours a day. I mean,
most people don't even get to take their 6 weeks because they can't afford it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's, you know, I thought it was just a little bit intense that there was like a villain in the piece. I was like, I don't know why someone's a villain when they want to see their child. It just made no sense to me. So,
and he's not asking for full custody. He's just simply asking for a renegotiated.
Because you know what?
Because I think as I gathered in Belarus, she was in primary.
Yes, and you know why? Because she's a citizen of that country. Can you imagine if that was your son? You'd be like, what the hell kind of nincompoop are you to go over to another country and sign paperwork when you're not a citizen? Mm-hmm. Get your life right,
dumbass.
Yeah. So let this be a lesson to you, boys and girls.
Wear a condom.
Put a rubber on your willy. Don't put a rubber on your willy. Rubber on your willy. Don't be silly.
Take your birth control pills. Get an IU.
Take your birth control.
I mean, there's lots of options.
And if all else fail, it might sound harsh, but people get an abortion because this life.
God, you are about to
get horrible. It's a horrible thing.
But you know what? Listen, but all of those are spilt milk. At the end of the day, Vika's gonna come back on the tour. And they're gonna come to a compromise that's gonna be amenable to both. It's not gonna be perfect because, you know, they're not a couple. I think the perfect solution would be for them to be together, doing it together, but it's not gonna be that way.
That's right.
So that's just life. It's life for
people do it every fucking day.
Don't be making permanent plans with temporary people. Let's just put it that way.
Listen, but you don't know they're temporary.
I mean, they broke up before they got pregnant.
I suppose if you're working as a golf pro at a sports club, it feels very temporary.
Yeah, exactly. And look, let's be 100. Let's be 100. When we open ourselves to people in particular in that intimate manner, we know whether they're temporary or permanent. We really and truly know. So let's not be putting down temporary posts in permanent poles and temporary holes.
Oh,
Just
Lord.
saying. Just saying. So I had a wonderful time, ladies. I don't know if I think if I look at my agenda, we discussed everything that needed to be discussed. Lovely having chat on. And I think
he was wonderful. Hope he drives safely. And I think I appreciate everyone who was in Cincy and tweeted at us and tweeted pictures and all that good thing. It's always really good to see people having a good time at live tennis. I fancy that always.
And I saw some fashion faux pas, but we won't talk about them in public. We just won't talk about them in public.
Janina, we hope next year you're doing this again from Cincy.
Oh, I will. I'm missing that shit again.
How that monstrous tournament.
You know what? I was happy that you didn't go because you know what? Every year I'm tired of you complaining. It's hot over here. It's just hot.
Shut up.
It's sweating. I can't do the podcast. I can't do the podcast right now. It's just fucking hot right now.
It is
so
hot
I'm happy that you were able to be in the comfort of a AC air conditioned room, and that I had you to myself every day, and not to share you with those Twitter people. I'm happy for that. So. Think of the good thing that happened.
Okay, the positive.
But you'll be there next year having a good time. So, ladies, this is wonderful. Anything else? So we have our draw show coming up hopefully on Friday.
It will be Friday. So there's no hopefully about it. Get your life right, Realz. Friday. Take a nap.
We'll do it. Okay, we'll get it together. Oh, man, I have things to do. I got to get my hair done. Okay, it's a lot. All right.
All right, then. Good night. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to comment below. And we are on iTunes, Twitter, Podbean, and YouTube. So thank you all. All right, bye.